What is up, guys? David here from Overland Nomad, and on this very special episode, we are not in Colorado. We are in Mexico. We're in the state of Nuevo Leon on a crazy camping and off-roading trip. So stay tuned.
We are traveling to Nuevo Leon, Mexico on a 4-night expedition through the Sierra Madre Oriental mountain range. My dad and I take off in the morning from Mission, Texas and cross the Anzalduas International Bridge into Mexico. We get flagged for inspection, but the Mexican customs asks us a few questions and let us go. We drive through the outskirts of Reynosa, Tamaulipas and get on the main highway that takes you directly to Monterrey, Nuevo Leon. The 3-hour drive was very peaceful with absolutely no issues. When it comes to safety, you want to avoid staying in any border town too long and just head directly into Mexico. Once in Monterrey, the traffic got pretty crazy being the morning rush hour. Driving the Tundra was a bit overwhelming, zipping through the tight streets, and most drivers just not obeying traffic rules. My family's actually from Monterrey, and I was actually born here, so we decided to go visit my grandma and go to the mall in the daytime, but by the afternoon we were headed to La Huasteca, which is the start of our expedition through the Sierra Madres. This trip was planned by my new good friends Todd, Giovanni, and Jake, and they actually have been doing this trip almost every year for the last few years. They tag along with the local 4x4 group, Los Aguerridos, and they take them through the mountains because they know all the secret spots and have permission from the local villages to camp in some of the spots. This night we rented an Airbnb just as a place to get our trucks and gear ready to go because for the next few nights, no cell phone service, 1 or 2 gas stations, and definitely no Walmarts.
Alright, guys. So we made it. We are in La Huasteca, outside of Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, Mexico. And we are at an Airbnb. If you want to look it up, it's Huasteca House. And this is a start to our little three-night camping through the Sierra Madres. And I gotta say, I'm super excited. I've been waiting to do this for the longest time. So let me give you kind of a little explanation. So these guys, a group of guys from Texas that I know, they do this kind of every year. They tag along with a group of guys here local from Nuevo Leon, and they do this pretty much every year. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but they invited me to come along, and I'm really excited. I brought my dad. He's in the room over there, and this is, I think, like his third time camping. So for him, this is new. But the thing about us is that I was actually born here in Monterrey, and when I was a kid, when I was 9 years old, I moved to the U.S. So there's some, and this is where I grew up when I was a kid. So there's a kind of there's a reason why I wanted to do this trip, is because of that. It's special to me. This is where my family's from for many generations. So we're finally here. We're finally gonna do it, and yeah.
Here we have Giovanni cutting up some very delicious meat for dinner and making some filling tacos. But if that wasn't enough food, one of the Aguerridos came by with his Jeep and trailer with his makeshift oven to cook up a pig. He made it look easy, but he is a pro because he actually cooks up these pigs for special events. What a great way to start an awesome adventure in Mexico.
Haz lo que hiciste antes. Ahí está.
Como los luchadores, ¿no? Así para...
PETA's not gonna like this. They're probably gonna ban me on YouTube now.
Oh, you're gonna be demonetized.
Dios parece que va a estar bien.
Dígame, compadre caballero, tómame el tiempo.
Next morning, we were all ready to take off and start Ruta Épica 2022, leaving La Huasteca and heading up a few kilometers to the Presa Rompepicos. But on the way up before arriving, my Tundra overheated. And I actually didn't get any video of it because when situations like these happen, I'm usually not in the state to film. I'm more worried about the issue. but the guys came up with a temporary fix to at least to get us to the Presa. We did notice that the radiator cap on the Tundra was missing the spring inside, releasing all the pressure and just making the truck overheat. This was such a bummer, but thankfully we were still close to Monterrey. We kept trekking up while the Tundra stayed cool. This is the Presa Rompepicos, an amazing engineering feat. From what I read on the internet, this wall was built in the 90s to stop the surge of waters produced by hurricanes to hit the city of Monterrey and the surrounding areas. It is 233 feet tall and 82 feet wide, and it looks way bigger in person. And just watch this video taken back from 2010 from Hurricane Alex and see how the dam slowed down all the water from inundating Monterrey. That right there is the tunnel that you just watched us drive in through. Look at all that water. I mean, it's insane.
So, as I was saying earlier, the radiator cap on the Tundra seems to be faulty. It's missing like the little spring that keeps the pressure. And we're out here. My dad's over there exploring, and two of the guys from the Mexican group, they headed over to an AutoZone. We're not far from town, from the city actually, not town. And they went to go get a radiator cap. So we're gonna wait here. We've just been sitting here. The other guys took off, and hopefully that's the fix. Right now, when we were driving this little part, the truck wasn't overheating, but it's still, some of the guys did a little MacGyver fix. They they put pressure and cut off the line that goes to the reservoir for the coolant reservoir, and that seemed to kind of work and helped. It would overheat just a little bit, just a little. Needle would go up just a tad bit to halfway, and then would come back down. We weren't going up hills, but because of this little trek, we're gonna be doing some uphills, elevation. You know, the truck needs to be performing good. So they were like, you know what, let's just go get the cap. So we're just here waiting for them. We have a radio on us. We can talk to them in case something happens, but hopefully that fixes it. This is the kind of thing that, man, I hate happening on a trip. And I prepared the truck to everything, but it just happened to be that radiator cap was somehow messed up, even though we drove on the highway and everything, and it was totally fine, but something must have happened. Us driving through Monterrey, we were in Monterrey the whole day. It was hot, the traffic is terrible, just a lot of going and stopping. It was 100 degrees. So let's hope it's that. Pray to God that it's that, and put that radiator cap and just go catch up with these guys and have a good time, because I'm just here to have a good time with my dad, honestly. I'm not here to beat this truck up too much.
And about an hour later, the two guys came back with the radiator cap. I was actually worried that they wouldn't find it because the Tundra is not sold in Mexico, but thank God that they were able to find it. And these guys were so kind that they wouldn't take payment for the delivery. All they said was, if we get low on gas on the trek, just give us some of the gasoline you got on your jerry cans. Such kind guys. Great example of the hospitality that you get from people down here in Mexico. And off we went trying to catch up with a team. We were going a little bit fast for these rough backcountry roads. The terrain was very dry and desert-like, while surrounded by these big cliffs and mountains. La Huasteca is a very well-known rock climbing destination for Mexican climbers and even international climbers. What you will see in this video is the change of terrain in such small areas. We aren't traveling hundreds of miles. On this first day of the trip, we only do 50 miles in 7 hours, which I have to say was the roughest drive I've ever done.
Okay, so we've already done about 12 miles, and we're at a point here called El Pajonal. It looks like a little, I don't know, like a little pueblito or something. But honestly, the drive up here, it's pretty treacherous for a backcountry road. I've been on two-wheel drive this whole time, not an issue. We did some switchbacks. The truck, you know, sometimes loses a little bit of traction, but it's a very rugged, rutted backcountry road, as you can tell, and not bad. It's just, you know, we were driving a little hard, but you can point the camera over here, right back on that. You got some really beautiful old buildings around here. Look at that. Buenas.
Buenas tardes.
I wouldn't be complaining living out here like those ladies. Beautiful out here. Look at that. See the donkey? You can smell wood burning. I've never done a overland trip, if you want to call it that, that has culture like this, where I'm driving on the backcountry and I just say hi to these grandmas out here, you know? That doesn't happen over there in the US. I haven't experienced that. And, you know, that's part of it's kind of part of doing something like this is the culture, you know, meeting all these new friends. Technically, this is an international trip, but for us, we live 3 hours from here.
I had no idea that people lived out in the mountains like you witnessed in the previous clip. I was so amazed seeing small villages like these on our trip that I thought to myself, if the world were to collapse, I know where I'm driving to. I imagine these villages in areas of Mexico like Oaxaca, but not 3 or 4 hours from my home in Texas. Amazing. Finally, we catch up to the Aguerridos, and now we were up in elevation and the weather was actually getting cooler.
I'm seeing it, so I noticed it. That's how
Shots of that.
We started venturing in and out of the state of Coahuila, passing through vineyards and farmland.
All right, guys. Then we got maybe about an hour or so to get to camp, so gotta keep going. Oy. It is game over. Just wanted to show you guys. Look at that. Look at that view. There's a little cabin over there. Those mountains. I'm sure some of y'all wouldn't think this was in Mexico, but it is. It's pretty amazing. It reminds me of the trip to Colorado. It's pretty amazing that people live out here. They're away from everything, from social media, the news. It's pretty nice. No, let's keep going.
Okay.
Our campsite for that night was El Rancho de Don Poncho. It's a property owned by an elderly 80-plus-year-old man that lives basically a hermit life out in the Sierra Madres. The Aguerridos will come up here and help out Don Poncho, and they even built out a kitchen area for him. There's no electricity or running water at his property, and sadly, Don Poncho hurt his leg, and his daughter took him back to town to take care of him.
So you can see, having a rooftop tent has its pros, and one of them is easy setup, especially one of these hard shell. And I know if you watch my other videos, you've seen my equipment, but here's my Blackfire 1500 watt. Right now I just have the lights from the rooftop tent and this Walmart light plugged into it, giving us some light. And these are my kind of kitchen boxes. And there's a reason why I bought these guys. If you watch one of my other videos explaining why I bought them, is because I go to the beach a lot, but today proved that there is a lot of dust. And these are supposed to be dust proof, so let's check it out. See if it worked. Yeah, looked like it worked. Let's check this one out over here. Yep, pretty clean. So what's going on over here?
We didn't have Ziploc bags, so we had to improvise and use regular
Ice.
bags.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Put the meat in, and they leaked
In the fridge?
in the fridge, so I'm cleaning it so it doesn't smell.
Pain in the butt. So what are we making, Dad?
We are going to make some tuna steaks, some grilled tuna steaks,
Okay.
and some guacamole. So it's a weird combination because it's tuna steaks with quesadillas and guacamole. So that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah. ¿Cómo sacas el hueso? Okay. And over there, that fresh. And so that's queso Oaxaca. Shredded queso Oaxaca, that melts. It melts beautifully. It's perfect for quesadillas, but it's got a great taste to it. This is how you do it. You don't use any utensils to turn the tortillas. If you use a utensil to turn the tortillas, that's because you're a wimp. And so you don't want to be a wimp when you're cooking. And so we use our hands like that. So just let it sit for a little bit. Flip it again. Then add the queso Oaxaca. This is beautiful. Look at this. I think this is goat's cheese is what it is. So we're gonna put some like this. It'll melt. That's just gonna be a little bit of an appetizer before we partake of tuna steak. It's starting to melt beautifully. Look at that. Look at that. That's just an appetizer. We're gonna put some guacamole on that. We made the guacamole very rustic on a paper plate. It's a full avocado with garlic salt. With garlic, with onions, and pink Himalayan salt. That's our appetizer there. It's Oaxaca cheese quesadilla, I believe it's goat cheese, and guacamole.
Nice.
Yeah. Tuna steak served. Campsite style.
So every morning and every night on the trip, the Aguerridos were doing communal breakfasts and dinners, which I honestly misunderstood the memo before the trip. My dad and I bought a bunch of food for us, but everyone else just brought meat to share, and someone would volunteer to cook it, and they would have these delicious meals.
Hey, buddy, yeah! Viva Mexico!
No falta nada.
Good morning, guys. Getting my cold brew, even though it's kind of cold outside. Well, it's really cold. We had a good night. It's kind of warm in there, not too bad. And since today we're gonna keep trekking along, we're gonna go down on this road, and honestly, I don't know exactly where we're going, but it's supposed to be an easier day than yesterday, less technical. So we'll see. But for now, we're gonna be here, camp. We're gonna relax, drink some coffee, and wait for these guys to get ready, because packing this thing up is pretty simple. So.
Machacado a la mexicana. Una chulada. Solo en estas alturas y en este punto se prepara de esta manera. Miren más. Miren más.
Very good, man.
Very good.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? How was your morning?
Pretty nice.
Good, good.
A little coffee. Going good. Cup. Hot coffee.
How was your night, Jake? In the suburban?
Hey, I
Suburban.
slept good.
Good?
Slept pretty good. Didn't hear all the snoring and everything else. Other
Probably
people
heard
were
me.
No, I didn't hear nothing, man. I was out.
Really?
Everyone else was complaining about it, but
Yeah.
I did all right. And it was good.
Good?
First time taking it out, kind of quite this far, and it's done real well.
Yeah. Very nice.
Los apoyan para que esos pinos tienen que ir a cortarlos porque tienen gusano o plaga. Los cortan. Aquí está el papá de Don Poncho. Inés, su hermano.
Our good friend Roger Redmond, which had traveled down here for years, was supposed to be on this trip with us, but he passed away back in August of 2021. He was a true adventurer and traveler. I was blessed to know him, camp with him, and even have some laughs. Humble man, and he served our country. He loved these mountains, and his widow asked Todd to scatter his ashes out here in Nuevo Leon. My dad, being a pastor, did a eulogy on the side of the mountain on Don Poncho's property. It was a very somber and special time, to say the least. Part of Roger's ashes were scattered here and some later on the trip. Day 2 of Ruta Epica 2022, and the trek gets better than the previous day. We started driving in between the mountains. The huge cliffs and the tight trails made the drive so epic and beautiful.
Let me get them. Let me get them.
We finally get a stop for gas at Laguna de Sanchez, Nuevo Leon, but this is not your typical gas station. By the way, this is Vikingo, leader of the Aguerridos. Super awesome dude, and he's getting his Cherokee fueled up by the town's gasoline supply.
Lo malo que es. Lo malo que es, ni más ni menos. Ni más ni menos. Porque hablando de más, después, ¿qué pasó con aquel? Sí, mentira, no, no.
Look at this. An international overlander.
International man of overlanding. I was talking about Todd, not me. I'm just a driver. I'm just a driver.
That's your new channel name?
International overlander.
Le acabamos de comprar unas empanadas de manzana que ella hace a mano. Con manzanas que ella...
De la cosecha de aquí de Laguna de Sánchez.
Ándele, muy bien.
La cosecha.
¿Y cuántos años tiene? Dígame de nuevo.
Yo tengo 83.
Eso. Pues vamos a probarlas a ver qué tal, ¿eh?
Bien buenas. Van a ver que le van a gustar y va a volver.
Ándele, gracias.
Ándele, igual.
Now we start getting some elevation and getting on the mountains. I'm not a big fan of heights, especially when I'm driving so close to drop-offs, but I'll do it for you guys and I'll do it for the amazing views and amazing memories. One thing I didn't mention was that on this trip we are running my Iceco VL75 Pro D dual zone fridge, and it worked flawlessly on this trip. Because we were driving most of the day, the alternator was just keeping my EcoFlow power station charged at mostly 100% by the end of the day. The fridge was plugged in the EcoFlow via AC power, and throughout the trip we had zero issues and never had to buy ice. I can tell you guys that fridges are a huge upgrade on trips like this.
Okay, so we're trying to get back, we're trying to get to camp right now, and we are at a really high point here. I'm not sure where we're at. Maybe I'll put it down below once I know where we're at, but this kind of driving reminds me of those mountain passes over there in Colorado that I did not get to do. But I guess I got them done here because this is a mountain pass, and this mountain pass is, you know, it's got some nice drops, as you can see. But what a beauty.
Perfecto, perfecto.
It's más meat. Okay.
Tocayo Barrera, tocayo. No, si cree que todavía no lo ocupa, no lo meta.
Here we're passing by a birthday party or quinceañera, I'm not sure, through a random town. Very interesting sights we saw. On this night, it was a bit different. We stayed at a campground near Rayones, Nuevo Leon that had cabins, and the Aguerridos wanted to rent a cabin that had access to a restroom and facilities. We also got access to some really weak satellite internet, which we were able to FaceTime with our families. I was really grateful to call my wife and kids and let them know that we were all good because we hadn't had signal for 2 days.
Almost a kilo. So about a pound and a half. And it was 119. Are you recording?
Yeah, I'm recording, but sound doesn't matter.
It was 119 pesos. So about 120. So about $6.
Woo!
Eh? Let's put it on here. A little fat.
This was definitely party night for the Aguerridos.
Hemos salido de allá del pueblo 37 grados y en la sierra estamos a 2.
I parked the Tundra right at the intersection of the village main road. It was a very, very interesting spot to camp.
Pasó, champ.
Sí. Que tiene su mano de victoria.
En el otro lado, con los ladrillos, sí, en el break, pegando break.
Con eso vale la pena la vuelta.
Ah, mira.
La cuchara.
Con eso.
Si de ahí me hubiera regresado.
Me encanta. No, la primera noche ya.
Sí, ya iba feliz.
All right, guys, we made it here to Rayones, Nuevo Leon. It's our last day on the trip. Tomorrow we're taking off back to McAllen, back to the U.S. And this is a typical, town out here in northern Mexico. When I was a kid, I grew up going to my grandpa's ranch. He had a town. He was from a town called Aguerridos, Nuevo Leon, not far from here, and it was the same thing, So it's awesome seeing this, reliving those memories. Narrow, tiny roads, and just walk everywhere. You got a tiendita in each corner. So it's beautiful out here, beautiful, as you can tell. So we're gonna keep exploring the town.
Time for some Rayones homemade ice cream. I believe it cost me like 15 pesos, which that's less than $1.
How are they?
Delicious.
What flavor did you get?
Chocolate.
Chocolate?
Seems like Oreo was all they had left. So.
Oh yeah, I got the Oreo one. Looks good.
Good news is it's not poisonous yet, so we're doing good.
We leave Rayones and we head to Galeana, Nuevo Leon for the last night on the Ruta Épica. On the way to Galeana, we passed by a family stuck on the edge of the road, and of course, the Aguerridos, because they're such great guys, they decided to help them. And I'm always down to pull someone out of a rut.
Neve. Stop right. Wait. Keep it. There you go. Stop right there. Stop. Tiene que endereza su llanta, así que. No. There you go. Perfect.
Trying to help out people out here.
In Galeana, we do stop at a gas station to fill up our tanks. I did have 2 5-gallon jerry cans in the back of the truck just for backup fuel. The plan was to camp at an observatory that night, but in order to camp there, you need permission from the locals. Vikingo tried to look for the guy in charge that had the key to the gate, but was not able to, and the entrance, of course, was locked. And the local farmer that was there said he couldn't open up the gate for us because he had no permission to do so. But Vikingo had a plan B. One of the other group members knew of a spot he discovered, a very special and secret spot that he had gotten permission from the village down the mountain. A spot that only these guys know and the village. Again, this spot was secret, so I will not show y'all the map for this one. The drive up the mountain was probably my favorite trail I've ever driven. It was a remote area and a trail that few travel on, mostly cattle. It was a steep climb the whole way, an epic way to finish the day, and wait till you see the camp spot.
Status, check this out. This is day 4, and actually the last day. Tomorrow we'll be heading back home. This is day 4 of our camping expedition trek, whatever you want to call it. It's been a lot of fun. We're about 9,000 or so feet in altitude. It's pretty up high. This was a last-minute decision. The place we were going to, the observatory, happened to be closed off to people that were looking at camping on their grounds, and so this was a last-minute thing. This is somewhat of a secret trail. Very few people have been here. One of the leaders of the team knew of this place, and so he invited us to come here. So it's a beautiful, beautiful place, as you can see. It's filled with pine trees. I wish you were here to smell, the scent of pines, and it's getting chilly. It's getting chilly. Temperature's going to drop. It's supposed to drop around 32 or so degrees, so it's going to be pretty cold tonight. This is David in the background. He has been doing some of his own recordings. As you can see, he is in a t-shirt. Of course, 20 years younger than me. I'm in a jacket, layered because I'm already cold. But hey, it's okay. It's all right. It's a beautiful place. Look at this. Look at this. The image really doesn't do this place justice. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Actually making milanesas and papas con salchicha. So we're being really creative today.
Yeah, it's a celebratory dinner.
Yeah. Okay, now there we go. Chihuahuas.
It smells like it smells like we're at a fast food place.
It does, right?
Mm. These fries, I already tried them. They came out just perfect. Perfect. Perfect fries. Whataburger has nothing on this.
If you know, you know.
Para pies y para pues me metí toda la posición. Me la quité la otra. ¿Qué tipo de levantamiento le hiciste? Veo que tiene como unas 5 pulgadas. 5 pulgadas. Digo, estaba pensando.
Go ahead, Todd. Go ahead. You have to let us know.
Es para degustación. Es que hay que aprender a compartir, chicos. ¿Y yo qué? Ahí voy, gordo. Permíteme.
Very good.
Very good. I think we got that. Very nice.
The last thing we did that night was walk right to the highest part of the mountain. We had to cross a fence, and the closer we got to the top, the windier it got. It was a memorable small hike that we will all remember. called Ruta Épica for a reason. It really is an epic journey. It really lives up to its name. The beauty, the terrain, the remoteness, the culture, the people, it's something that this video can't do justice because this was the best adventure trip I've had so far in my young life. For my dad, he's never done something like this. And going on an adventure with my dad also made it very special. I know for both of us, we will never forget the special moments on this trip. And I promise you, this will not be the last time we do the Ruta Épica with our new friends. Thanks to Vikingo and the Aguerridos for letting us join on their epic trip, and for Todd, Giovanni, and Jake for being such awesome dudes and inviting us. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.